Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. I'm Topher. I started this channel because I'm a fan of craft beer, but I'm also on a limited budget. And I wanted to demonstrate it was possible to enjoy good quality beers without having to break the bank. So I'm always looking for a good deal. And I'm hoping that I found a pretty good one on today's selection. $3.50 is what I paid for a pint can of the Eastside Oatmeal Pilsner from Baerlic Beer Company. I bought this from Bridgetown Beerhouse. They are located at 915 North Shaver here in Portland, Oregon. $3.50 is usually a little more than I pay for a pint can, that I like to pay for a pint can. Bridgetown is a great place, but it's one of those places that does not have prices on their beers. If you are in the greater Portland area and you want to direct me to a bottle shop that does a really good job of pricing their beers, that would be great. Because when you're trying to figure out craft beers on a budget, it really doesn't help to not have any idea how much you're paying for a beer. Plus, I really hate walking up to the counter going, how much is this? Okay, thanks. How much is this? Okay, thanks. How much is this? Okay, thanks. So, nothing again. That's how Bridgetown does their business. They probably have been doing business just fine without me stating, but I hate those kind of places where you don't have prices on the beers. So, that aside, they did seem to be a pretty good place, and I'm hoping that $3.50 is not too much to have paid for this beer. Baerlic Beer Company is out of Portland, Oregon. As it says right here on the can, brewed and canned in Portland, stubbornly independent and brewer owned since 2004. Does not have the independent craft label that I normally highlight on these videos. Once again, that does not mean that it's not an independent craft brewer. It just means it doesn't have the label. It is listed as a microbrewery in Untappd. On Untappd, I've had only one friend check in. That was Jamison, who gave it a 3.75 back in 2015. 2,151 of us have given it a cumulative score of 3.65. Beer Advocate has had 11 rankings of this beer, giving it a 3.97 cumulative score, an average ranking of 3.97, a cumulative score of 84, which on their scale is good. Do not have a brewed on or packaged on date. Pilsners were originally created in the Pilsen region of the former Czechoslovakia. I don't know honestly whether that's Slovakia now or the Czech Republic or which part of Pilsen falls into now, but in the area that was known at that time was Bohemia. Pilsen is where the Pilsners originally started. There's a whole story which I'm not going to go into, but sometime when I do my beer book, we'll discuss the history of the Pilsner and how it was made with yeast that was smuggled from Germany to the Czech Republic. Anyway, has something to do with, a great deal to do with that. When Pilsners came here to the U.S., they were brought here by German and Czech immigrants. What makes an American Pilsner stand out a little bit more is the higher incidence of hops in the Pilsner, as well as the introduction of adjuncts such as maize and rice. So those sometimes work their way into Pilsners. Real quick, this beer has a 4.8 ABV. Typically, American Pilsners come in between 4.5 and 6%. It has 35 IBUs. Typically, American Pilsners come in between 25 and 40 IBUs. So as you can see, a little low on the alcohol scale, a little high on the IBU scale. Now, let me give you the summation of this beer. Traditionalists would curse our addition of raw oats to this style of beer, but we just love the texture it adds, and it pairs perfectly with the spicy and fruity character of Oregon-grown Sterling and Santiam hops. So there's the hop composition for you. I believe I've gone over just about everything I possibly can on this beer. I think it's time to crack this bad boy open and do some drinking. Now, Pilsners I said it was a 4.8 ABV. Pilsners are known for coming in on the low ABV scale. They're oftentimes light beers. In fact, light, L-I-T-E beer from Miller is in fact listed as a Pilsner. So Pilsners usually come in on the low ABV scale. Lately there's been the introduction of Imperial Pilsners. To me, that kind of goes against the whole nature of the Pilsner. And I will say that Pilsners are in fact my favorite variety of lager. As you may know, all beers fall into the category of either lager or ale. Pilsners fall into the category of lagers, and they remain one of my favorite lagers. And this has all the super heavy carbonation you would expect of a Pilsner. Known for being very highly carbonated. I have used Pilsner yeast more than once when making lagers. should have a medium mouthfeel. A lot of times Pilsners will have a sort of sulfur smell that has to do with the water that was used originally back in the day, but they don't always. American Pilsners don't, in fact, usually have that sulfur smell. I'm going to give this a quick beard wipe, see if I can encounter anything. No, honestly, it just smelled like a beer. Let me stick my schnoz directly in. There's a very yeasty, that Pilsner yeast definitely takes on a different aroma in and of itself, and it's very yeasty. It very much smells like a Pilsner. Don't have a great deal of lacing on this, but that's not surprising. We only got a 4-point ABV, so, you know, without coming into even a standard 5, we're talking rather low. This is, I'm going to describe this as, let's say honey colored. I'm going to say that's about the color of honey. I don't know whether that's coming through on the camera or not, what color you're seeing on the camera, but I'm going to describe that as about honey colored. That head is fairly resilient. It's not very thick, but it isn't really going anywhere. Well, I'm going to go ahead and quit yapping my flap and start drinking some of this beer. Cheers. Well, I think I see what they were going for by adding the oatmeal. Okay, I gotta say I like the aftertaste a little bit better than the original taste. I am going to describe this as a low mouthfeel. There's really no spikiness to this, and unsurprisingly with the 4.8 ABV, there's really no alcohol burn. It's a unique flavor. It's interesting because you don't normally... It tastes very much like a Pilsner. It's that light flavor, it's that crispness that you expect from a Pilsner, but then there is that super oatiness, and I gotta give Baerlic, you know, props for going a little unconventional. The aftertaste is definitely better than the original taste. I'm thinking that the beer itself deserves a 3.5. Coming in a can, it's going to get a 3. It's going to get that extra 0.25. I'll give it a cumulative score of 3.75 out of 5 possible. If you're a tried and true Pilsner fan like me, you may not like this beer. I would suggest to you, if you're a tried and true Pilsner fan and it's available in, say, a flight glass, you know, a sampling, by all means check it out. I don't know that I would want to pay another $3.50 for 16 ounces of this. But I will say this, that it's interesting enough that it makes me want to check out other beers from Baerlic, and especially being here in Portland, I definitely want to be trying out a local brewer. So I'm not sure who exactly to recommend this to. If you would like a light beer, this is definitely... You know what, this is, I normally call them lawn mowing beers because of all that time I spent in Vegas. This is more like a leaf raking beer. If it's a day that's not particularly hot and you're raking leaves and you need to, it's not a particularly hot day, it's not a particularly cold day, but you need something to, you know, quench your thirst, this might be a good one at that 4.8. You should maybe blow leaves or rake leaves. But as I said, it's going to get a 3.75. Cumulatively, the beer itself gets a 3.5. Props to the idea. I'm just not sure that they pulled it off in the execution. Well, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out my other channel, Fat 50 and Running a Marathon, where I'll be giving health tips, and I will even be talking about my fondness for craft beer there and how I think that can actually work into a healthy lifestyle and exercise and diet. So, until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers!